So I'm just reporting on like the new developments. So this is a typical like newsletter from. So this is the Nationalrat in the wheelchair, and I like he never answered directly, but I don't even remember that I was like, but then you end up on a newsletter. Now the unexpected part is that Osironer, so it was especially like the children, so he's like as old as like my godfather, I guess, even like they so we played a lot of like soccer together, and he was the highest judge in Kanton Schweiz. Now the answer was just a 9, but like I asked, so if they don't want my newsletter, they just need to tell me. That might not have worked in the past, but now it would work, right? So that gives me hope that like he read. It took like, what is that now, 25 months. So I started with those emails like 25 months ago, and he was in one of the biggest newspaper, the Tagesanzeiger. He's open AfD sympathisant. So he's my complete opponent in every regard, like politically. But unlike my family, he knows a lot about the law and so on, right? And it's just another example. So, like, maybe I underestimate how much my family actually did to boycott me. So the book, so let's not forget, Brüche sind erlaubt. It was just that my mother randomly mentioned there is someone in the choir, so the vocal ensemble, that wrote the book. And she never expected that I actually would ask Johanna to help me write the book because of that. And she tried to like forbade it, but like that it was basically her idea. I'm not gonna dispute that. And then once she mentioned that in her class, so there was the Matura-Treffen, there is a former judge from the Bundesgericht. So that's the Supreme Court in Switzerland. And there again, I told her, like, wouldn't this be the perfect case for and she agreed that he might even be interested in this just well, out of interest. That is what yeah, like his calling, right? And but then she decided she doesn't even want to like give me the name, and so that ended up like always she just well, it's not just that they try to put me away, or like in some cases so my Austrian like colleague from the poker tables, that it's a similar story. So the family kind of wanted to pay him off, but never be in touch with him again. So in my case, it's worse, and they did that in the past, not just over generations, right? So they don't wanna, they don't care how much that costs. So they would have and there my mother tried a lot together with my brother. So they wanted me to put away in in a living in an institution that is controlled, because if they actually just paid me off, they feared that I would not be silenced. And of course, now I'm very hopeful compared to like 10 years ago, even 2015. So the first psychologist, her first input was as well, so the real problem is my mother. My mother needs psychotherapy. That was the first, and there all of them agreed. The same with my aunt. It's even worse. So they just it's like with they just wanna like bend the world in a way that this reality, their illusion, doesn't crash down, right? So it's all there is to it, and it's the same for the author of my book, Johanna. It's the same for my aunt. It's just a slightly different. Well, the blockade starts at a different point, but it's exactly the same dynamics, and this is what the biggest evil, unnecessary suffering human caused, and that is why I think it would be worth to read Nietzsche, as at least the essentials. That's exactly what the Antichrist by Nietzsche is about, right? And it's not just women, it's even worse. My father is not that stupid. And he's very, he's actually very well versed in writing this kind of like emails. Is still better than what I can do with ChatGPT. But he just abuses that. He abuses that those sisters are this naive, and even worse, of course, my godfather. So it's no secret. My godfather had this affair going with the younger nurse, and when my cousin Robin was no longer like so when you saw the stomach of my like new aunt there. Then he decided to divorce. Like this is well, it's just a pathetic excuse for a human being, and like why are we surprised? Like and he somehow managed to keep up this farce. I don't know why. It is what it is. He was not able to control his urges. The worst part is how they are not transparent about it. And even worse than in 2021, my father hopped on that train again. So instead of like, he doesn't even need to talk to me. He can just write an email that might be better. He still thinks that because they Zoom discuss it behind my back, that will be the solution for everything. And it's real bad. There is no proper like, but just for one case alone. So I looked that up. I informed myself in that regard. So for one FU 3 weeks, there is a minimum of 2 years in prison, and it's not bedingt, it's teilbedingt. So a part of the time they have to go to prison, and with their way, how they don't even respond when the Polizehauptmann, the Ombudsarzt of the Kanton SZ, like they still don't respond. They still think the best strategy is just to keep silent. Then, well, they deserve it. What can I do? It's still that until like the 10th of March. And most likely, so you don't know how bad our Staatsanwaltschaft actually is. So they will find a way to do nothing. So like our politics found a way to like all the long COVID cases, for example. So it was ME/CFS before that, based on other, so pfeifisches Drüsenfieber can lead to the same symptoms as long COVID. So there was more than 100,000 new cases because of Corona. Our politics found a way to tell themselves that this is just a psychosomatic issue. No, it isn't. It is not. It is not a psychosomatic issue. It's like cancer, that it is known what it is. It is an overreaction basically to our own immune system, and that leads to an infection in the brain. That is not psychosomatic. It's like if you tell someone, just go into psychotherapy when you have a terminal, doesn't matter what illness, cancer, with talking a bit about it, it will go away. And that's what our politics managed to do in that case as well. And it's because of the Staatsanwaltschaft. So like, once you have to involve the police, once you have to involve that they have to ermitteln von Amtes wegen, well, because I have a completely clean West, there is no harm for me in doing that. But for them, it will be so much worse. It's just they don't even dare to inform themselves what that actually would mean. They could just ask this Bundesrichter, for example. Like, he would even like enjoy if my mother, like ever one of the prettier women in the class would call him. So I don't get, how can you be this stupid? And it's exactly the same generation after generation, and it's not that like this kind of manipulation was ongoing before we had voting rights for women im Kanton Appenzell. This is this is a bigger problem than that. So it's just, I don't know. Well. And Simon Fasnacht as well. Like, then there is, so for example, Simon Fasnacht and Stress, so the rapper. So there was one podcast where they talked about depression. I don't know if that's still yeah, this is it. From 2020. They have no message. And if you don't pay SRF or are part of like this elite, there is no chance whatsoever that they I don't know. I don't know how can they, like, how do they function from a day-to-day basis? Like there is no proper journalism going on, and it's not just Switzerland. This is yeah. So like and this is not like well, the problem is, you have to keep up this illusion for the Green Party, my aunt, my mother, that like somehow it still works. But like once you start to, that you have to deal with the Staatsanwaltschaft, that's a different, like, but in the end, like, they will have to do that. They will have to like the excuse no longer works because I discussed it with the police, I discussed it with the Oberstaatsanwältin, so it will not work. They will have to investigate, and by the way, the same with the police here. They tried, I don't know, like 7 times now to just impress me. Once it was even so that I didn't mention yet properly. So like there was even the flatmate kind of, because I supported this book project and had a mental hospital visit, he found a way to get my parents somehow on his side when I was in the mental hospital, I guess, so that he would become the main responsible for the contract, so the rent contract. And then they looked into it. That's impossible if you do not like if you are not from Switzerland. That's basically impossible, or that would have been hella annoying. And so instead of accepting that, he went to the police, and they when I think it was around August 2023. They did a Hausdurchsuchung here based on, I don't even want to know what, because this Italian fellow told them I'm like, I don't know what he invented, but the police, they acted on it. They were here. They made this Hausdurchsuchung. So like this is really like the federal police. He claimed he was like held like I don't know, like a slave contract or something. I don't. And then when they didn't work out, he just vanished. So he's now an alien. And the police, they like with all those examples, they never come to the conclusion that it might be an issue, that they never look into things. So the first surprise I remember was when I like the Lindenmeier, so that responsible officer at the Polizeiposten in Uznach, he asked me, so what about autism? So he read in a report that I'm autistic, and I told him, no, that's not even like that was like 10 years ago by this Kasperl Schneider, a diagnosis, and no, that's absolutely not what it is about, right? And again, instead of accepting that, and that was not even something the Ambulatorium Uznach ever claimed. That's really, that was no longer, it was never about that. What was diagnosed was Hochbegabung. So when I did this fachpsychologische Gutachten, not the Gutachten of the IV im Römerhof, that was part of it. That my IQ when it comes to visualizing number series is well, the best test she ever saw. So it would have been more than 200, but just this part of the IQ test, and it's not like but like my parents, they never. So my mother wants to tell herself that like everything is normal, and well, the only one that was a challenge in chess, for example, and I never invested in chess, was the father actually of my mother, not my father. So the Doctor dynasty, he would have no chance. My grandfather, so the grandfather Küchler, compared to the father of my mother, like when it comes to chess, for example, no chances whatsoever. Like completely useless, like my father. So my father was not even a challenge ever since I was like I don't remember, like 10 years old in chess, and I didn't invest in chess. And so they never dare to admit to themselves that it's just, yeah, like There is no point to this at the moment. It's just it helps to keep patience, and as it is the most genius cello aria. So this version is with the gambe, but like that's some played with the cello. So cannot hurt. So it cannot hurt because. But this is the work they would have to do. So this is exactly the work my aunt would have to do first. So that we look into topics that would belong into a systems therapy. But they are not able to do that. They rather become reality benders. It's as simple as that. And they don't do that knowingly, and so I think it's even worse. Like my godfather, they abuse that, right? They abuse that to their advantage. And I mean,